All right, guys, good afternoon. Thank you for joining. My name is Zia, and this is Crypto Polaris, and we all know why you are here. You are here for SUI. Let's talk about SUI and see what we can do. Again, thank you for coming. My name is Zia. This is Crypto Polaris, and I am really excited to talk about my very first video on SUI. I have been following them since they were called Facebook. Yes, you heard me right, since they were called Facebook. So we'll talk about this a little bit. But there's lots to talk about, guys. SUI is a very interesting blockchain, and I'm going to get right into it. But most importantly, the price prediction that you see here, that is 112 by 2030. I am going to walk you through a very detailed explanation as to how I got there, what the catalysts are, and go from there. So why don't we bring in our agenda and see what we want to talk about today? All right, so just like the other videos, I like to start off with especially brand new blockchains you may or may not be familiar with. Really want to start off with what the token names are, what their market cap are, and all that stuff. So I'll do that shortly. And then, what is SUI? And why the heck do we need SUI? SUI plays in the world of Ethereum, as you may have heard. They also play in the world of Solana. They also play in the world of Aptos. They also play in the world of Cardano. So why do we need yet another blockchain that everyone thinks does the same thing? And I'm going to try my best to show you the differences between SUI and all the other blockchains. And I'm going to focus primarily on Solana versus SUI because when SUI came out, everybody called SUI the killer of Solana and potentially even Ethereum. But Ethereum has really become a general purpose blockchain. So let's move on and keep going down this list that I have here. And then give you a little bit of history. We'll dive into a little bit why SUI and why it was created. I'll also talk about the roadmap that's going to really help you understand the price prediction and why SUI is better than Ethereum if it is, and why SUI is better than Solana if it is. And I really will be doing a very non-biased, and I currently don't hold any SUI, I don't hold any Solana, and I hold some Ethereum. Now, Solana I've had in the past, but I don't currently hold any. So I may be buying all three of them. So I'm not sure. So this is a good exercise for me as well, guys. And this is not a financial advice, what I'm going to tell you. This is for educational purposes. I learned by doing the video, and hopefully I can part with some knowledge, and you can do your own research and decide what to do with SUI specifically here. Okay? And then really hone in on the actual things SUI is trying to do and a big market they play in, which is the gaming market. And I'll explain that in a second. And then the holy grail of SUI. And we're going to talk about how SUI, like Solana, Solana has a phone, a cell phone. Did you know that? SUI has a video game console, and it hasn't been delivered yet. They're taking pre-orders. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And you'll begin to understand what the differences are between Solana and SUI. Yet they are the same. So that's interesting. And of course, price prediction. So let's keep going here. So here we have the prices as of this morning, I believe, where SUI is now at $4.19. By the way, all-time high was around a little over $5. So SUI has been, as you can see, this is a 1-month chart, and it's going up. Let's not pay too much attention to pricing right now. But if you look in the lower left-hand side, it's important to understand how when they first opened up SUI, how the tokens were distributed. And the breakdown is really here. And this is going to become important in my price calculation. All right. So we'll come back to this, but pause it, take a look at it. But all you need to know is 20% were the early contributors. So those are the founders of SUI. And I'll talk about who the founders are as well. SUI token overview. There's not much really to look at here. Their token name is SUI. Now, in total supply, they have 10 billion tokens. Okay? So if you take 10 billion, multiply by today's price, you see what the market value is, right? So I think it's ranking around 12th on the market cap for Coin Market Cap or CoinGecko. You can take a look at that. Again, there's right now, out of the 10 billion total supply, only 3.6 billion is available for you and I to buy. Like you and I are going to buy the whole 3.6 billion, right? Always look at the total supply, and that's your total diluted market cap. So 10 billion times 4 would be exactly $40 billion. But if you look at the market cap, it says 14.4 billion. That's because it's 3.6 billion in circulation times 4.19. Okay. And they launched in 2023. We'll get into all of that. So that's enough on this. So let's move on. So technically, what is SUI? SUI is a token. They run their own blockchain. It is really built ground up to be extremely, extremely fast. It was really built ground up to be faster than Solana, to be obviously faster than Ethereum. It is one of the fastest blockchain because when they create this blockchain, they really kept the real-time applications, which needs instant finality. And these SUI guys have figured out how to do finality in about 400 milliseconds. That's like half a second. Solana's finality takes about 12 seconds versus SUI's finality only takes 400 milliseconds. Okay? That's the real thing you really need to understand. SUI really got started when Facebook, if you remember, Facebook tried to do Libra, then they rebranded to Diem. They got a lot of heat from US Congress too. They had to shut down their Diem, which was a stable coin. So all the engineers from that left, and half of them, the best half, joined and created, 5 of them, created SUI. Okay? So keep that in mind. These are the brainchilds of Facebook stablecoin called Diem, and they started this company called SUI. All right? Some of the key features why SUI is very important, but most important one is it can do parallel execution super, super fast for doing gaming, 3D gaming, all sorts of other things that require real-time application. And the bottom one is just the top level of why create SUI if Solana exists. There's a table here. The most important one is the speed. They both have the same programming language, except SUI's programming language is called Move. It is built on Rust, which is a programming language for Solana. But the difference here is the SUI's programming language called Move is specifically for blockchain. That makes it super fast for the developers to write code and develop all of this. Okay? Hopefully this is making sense. There's a lot of technicality stuff. I'm not going to get into this. This is really the TLDR stuff. That's how most of my videos are. It's not meant to be super technical, but you can pause it and take a look at it. All right? So history and roadmap. As I said, number one, they started in 2021 by 5 Facebook employees for the defunct program called Diem. And they are one of the best, and their competitor is Aptos. So some of the other engineers created another blockchain called Aptos. We're not here to talk about Aptos. That has its own advantages and disadvantages. Just any other, SUI has advantages and disadvantages. So let's keep going. Number two, they were funded really well, primarily by venture capitalists from Silicon Valley. They raised $336 million, and their valuation was $2 billion. And then launch, number three, back in 2023. So it's fairly new blockchain. I mean, Ethereum's been around for a long time. Solana, if you can say, it's becoming an old-timer. And then that's what happens. You start learning from the past and make it better and better and better. But as you make them better, they're not more general purposes. SUI, you'll see it's not a general purpose blockchain, although you can use it for that. But they really have certain applications in mind when they built it. All right. So today, SUI is heavily focused in gaming applications, of course, FTs and DeFi and real-time applications. And you know what's important to understand here with SUI is they just released, you see that picture? A gaming console. That gaming console is very important and is part of their roadmap because they want to dominate the gaming industry along with all sorts of other industries, but their heavy focus in 2025 is in gaming industry. All right. And then we got 2025 all the way up to 2030. There's all sorts of development that's going on. They actually say they want to onboard 1 billion users, new 1 billion users with user-friendly interface. SUI's user interface is one of the easiest to develop and one of the best out there. That's one of their advantages over Solana also. So keep that in mind. And performance. Ultimately, SUI, not only do they want to get 1 billion brand new users to use blockchain, hopefully SUI, they also want to solve the scalability, the security, and decentralization. That is a dilemma. There's no blockchain out there that can say all three they can do. All of them do 2 out of 3, the best, and 1 at an expense. So you can't have scalability and security and complete decentralization. And when you have complete decentralization, you pay the price in terms of scalability because security is good. So you get the point. 2 out of 3, just about all the blockchains can do it. But to do all 3, it is almost impossible. It is not possible, including Bitcoin. Bitcoin is heavily decentralized, extremely secure, but it's not scalable, meaning it's very, very slow. Okay? So let's keep going. And that's really why a lot of other blockchains were created. Ethereum was created also because Bitcoin is slow. And Ethereum was created with 17 transactions per second. That's not fast compared to these guys. All right. So enough about that. So let's keep going. What are the problems that SUI is solving? Some of them I've already talked about. This is something I created fresh for you guys. Pause this, take a look at it. But they really set out to solve 5 major problems. Scalability bottleneck. We talked about this a little bit. Inefficient smart contract models. That means the smart contracts take a while and to run. Remember, SUI can do this in parallel. All right. SUI is not account-based. SUI is based on objects. And what is the difference, Zia? It's hard to explain unless you truly understand how blockchain works. But let's leave it at that. Too. Account-based is balances, and object-based are objects. When you're moving objects around, it's much faster than doing this under accounting principle, which is what Solana does also. All right. There are developer complexity and risk involved here. Solana and Ethereum, smart contracts, they've got some deficiencies in there, but SUI was built, remember, SUI was built ground up, not using a general purpose programming language like Rust. It was built on Move. That is a specific programming language that was created to build a blockchain, which is SUI. So that has less vulnerability, let's say. That has less risk, let's say, to be clear, because I don't want one of you guys saying, hey, SUI does have vulnerability. It's not absolute. No, it's not absolute. It is less than Ethereum. It is less than Solana in terms of risks, okay, and vulnerability. Slow user experience. It is very hard to use Ethereum as an end user, okay? Solana made it easier, but SUI made it super friendly user interfaces, and it is super fast. Everything happens instantaneous, so they took care of that problem. And of course, barrier to mass adoption, because it really addresses in terms of just getting billions of users onboarded through usability and also through low gas fees and whatnot, because Ethereum has extremely high gas fees, all right? And you can look at all the solutions for each one of them that's in the bottom. And let's not go through all of that. This was really done so I can memorialize this for you and you can take a look at it. But for each one, scalability bottleneck, there's a solution. For inefficient smart contract, there's a solution. Developers complexity, there's a solution. Slow user experience, there is a solution. Barriers to mass adoption, SUI has a solution. All right, guys, let's talk about this comparison chart. All right, we got the features on the left. I got SUI, Ethereum, and Solana. So let's talk about some of them, not all. And let's take a look at the red. The red one is transactions per second. As I've already mentioned, SUI can do over 100,000 transactions per second. Compared to Ethereum, only 15 transactions per second. And look at Solana, 65,000 transactions per second. Now, Solana does have an upgrade coming called Fire Dancer that is going to do over 1 million transactions per second. And at the same time, there are upgrades coming for SUI as well, okay? Ethereum simply cannot match it. Ethereum at its own level can't, but it has level 2 or layer 2 solutions that gets up there. Layer 2 such as Matic can run it much faster than that. So natively, Ethereum decided not to get the transactions per second up, but Solana and SUI are super fast, but SUI right now is much, much faster. But this is transactions per second. The one above the one I marked or circled in red, it's called finality. This is a game changer. This is a game changer for SUI and Solana, okay? SUI can do it in less than 1 second, meaning transaction completely done in less than 1 second, more like 400 milliseconds, okay? But look at Ethereum, 12 to 30 seconds, a lot when you have to do millions of transactions. And then look at Solana, 400 milliseconds. So Solana is relatively fast, all right? But keep in mind, Solana is a general purpose blockchain. Ethereum is a general purpose blockchain. SUI was built as a blockchain that can be used for general purpose, but it specifically focuses on DeFi, NFT, and also on the gaming industry. All right. So that's the main use cases in blue. You can see that. I touched on that right now. And let's move to the right side. Ideal use cases by chain. The one in green is SUI is really good for real-time gaming. There's nothing. Even Solana cannot match SUI's transactions the way it does gaming. All right. In the yellow, it's really NFT world. Solana is really good. So is SUI. All right. An on-chain social app. SUI by far the fastest to do social type of applications to be built on SUI. A lot of stuff here, guys. Don't get lost in the weed. I'm trying to pull out and give you at a high level some of the differences, and don't really fall for, there are people that love Solana to death, hates everything else. Ethereum to death, hates everything else. SUI to death, hates everything else. They all have pros and cons. And you just need to understand fundamentally why you would put your money in any one of these things. And that is really what this channel is all about, trying to educate you on the fundamentals. Because just like right now, we're in a bull market, things are going up, up, up. And every other day, things go down, 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 and then goes up, up, up. If you knew the fundamentals and understood the fundamentals and did your own research, and then you bought this, you would hold on to it because it went down for a day or two. Gaming, gaming, gaming. And I wanted to give you how big the gaming market is. So the chart on the left is showing you the current gaming market is around $320 billion in revenue worldwide. And then it's projected by 2030, it is expected to be $505 billion of revenue, guys. Revenue. This is the industry that SUI really built it ground up to be able to grab the market share. Now, I'm going to talk about how all the companies that are playing in the $505 billion, well, SUI doesn't want to write games. They built a platform that you can write games on. So all these guys on $505 billion revenue, if they want to enable their games on blockchain and become Web3 solutions and stay relevant, they should migrate onto SUI. Some will migrate to Solana, but they should. Oh my goodness, by 2034, the revenue, expected total revenue globally from games are supposed to be $722 billion. And SUI is really built to take advantage of this market, okay? Now, I talked about gaming. So on the upper left-hand side, SUI is taking pre-order for a gaming console. That's what that is. It's called SUI Play OX1. That's their version 1. They started taking pre-orders for $599 back in September of 2024, and it will be delivered sometime, probably September of 2025, something like that. And that is the beginning of trying to get you to play games. You as an end user don't care if it's on a blockchain or not. You won't even know it's on a blockchain. But the interesting thing that's going to happen there is all these games have things that people buy and sell. There are clothes, skins, and NFTs and weapons and all of that in a game that becomes an NFT that you will need SUI to buy, and they're tradable. Are you beginning to understand that? Right now, you buy tokens and tokens are traded, but it has no value. But buying these things in SUI and trading them in SUI, you won't even know you're transacting in SUI. The price of SUI starts to go up. More and more people adopt the games, all right? There are millions, tens of millions of people that play these games every day. And the more games you play, the price of SUI goes up, all right? So we'll talk about that in a sec. So that's the lower left-hand side that I touched on. All of these companies, Epic Games, Steam, and others are going to migrate their games onto this blockchain. So super interested. And you know, when you actually play these games, you log in. And that's the other thing. Look on the upper right-hand side, why it matters. SUI is making it so easy that the user doesn't know they're using SUI, let alone they're using blockchain. They just log in as if they're logging in with their Google email or Apple email, what have you. That's how you get adoption, guys. All the technology BS stuff does not get anybody adopt. Geeks like me and others are interested. But when it comes to just playing a game, I don't care. I want to play a game. But to run the game more efficiently and things of that nature, and to be able to own your weapons and assets in the game and trade them is where we're headed. All right? So let's just keep going. You can freeze frame, take a look at this, and go from there. All right, guys, price prediction. And there's a lot here, guys. And I want to really talk about where we are today and then what's happening in 2026 and 2027, all the way up to 2030. So let's get the actual price out of the way, all right? I believe by end of 2025, it will be minimum $12.96. Today's price is $4.32. All right. So I'm expecting it to rise to $12.96. And I'm going to talk about the catalyst that I listed here. And it goes through all the way to $112. Quite doable. And before I get into nitty gritty, so when it's $12, it's a $47 billion market cap for SUI. When it's 107, it is now $590 billion market cap for SUI. Very, very doable. Solana is on its way to $500 billion, guys. And don't let these prices shock you. All right, so as I said, there are 10 billion tokens, and of those, only 3.4 billion are in circulation. Now, did you know that every month, SUI is releasing 44 million tokens from what is locked up? Okay, so this is built into my price prediction. So I'm going to walk you through that. So what I've done is using that calculation. So guys, see this 220 million tokens? I expect 220 million more tokens to be released in circulation this year. So I've taken that into account, and I got to that by saying 5 more months are left, 5 times 44 million, you get 220 million. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I have taken the dilution by releasing more tokens to calculate the price. Now, guys, take a look at all these catalysts that I have here. So how is this going to increase the price? Well, game consoles being released, more games are going to be played, more assets are going to be bought by the gamers who are going to buy assets using SUI. More and more games are going to get released. Sony, Electronic Arts, Take-Two, Roblox, they're all going to migrate their games on this platform. Social apps are going to be built. And if you account for all of that, I said by end of the year, it is going to become $12.96. And all of that year after year matures, and you get more and more and more. So let's take a look at the 2026. Notice I've got 528 million tokens being released in 2026 because, again, 12 months times 44 million. All right. And that just keeps increasing the circulation. So in 2025, you end up with 3.6 billion. In 2026, you end up with 4.1 billion. All the way doing the calculation. By 2030, you end up with 5.25 billion. Now, why these zeros here, guys? That's interesting. Why are there nothing being released here and nothing being released here? That's part of my calculation. The reason is, let's go back over here, and you'll notice SUI circulating supply by 2030. They are going to release about 4.8 all the way through. 4.8 more that's going to be released. So in total, and the reason is they have in their documentation that after 2030, they're going to release 52% of the total supply. I capped this out at 5.2 billion. That's really where they're headed. SUI is going to make sure that things stay locked up to 2030. So in any case, using all this calculation, I've gotten $12.96 here for 2025 and all the way to 112. And that's really what the price prediction is. This will be in the description. You can take a look at it more in depth. A lot went into this calculation, guys. This will become very interesting over a period of time. So guys, this has been very interesting. You really need to understand. In summary, SUI is a special purpose blockchain that is created to really focus on real-time applications and to focus with gaming and few other things. In financial systems, it needs real-time. In pharma, it needs real-time. Like in medications and whatnot, you need real-time calculations. So SUI is well fitted. Solana is a general purpose. You can build a lot of these things that I just talked about, but it's general purpose. So it's going to be fast for some, slow for others. Same with Ethereum is general purpose. It's very slow. And Ethereum is going to be here. It's going to grow. Solana is going to be here. It's going to grow. But SUI is going to grow much faster, in my opinion, and will be taking away a lot of this video marketing niche areas. Hopefully, guys, you liked what I had to say. Give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and send me some DMs so I can reply to that. And if there's anything specific that you want me to work on in terms of videos, I look forward to doing that. So take care. Have a great night.